Kitchen sponge. That little sponge by your sink looks like the cleanest thing in the room. It's covered in soap. It lives next to hot water. Its whole job is cleaning, which is exactly why it gets away with murder. A used kitchen sponge can be one of the most bacteria-packed objects in your house because it stays damp, traps food, and hides grime in thousands of tiny pores that never fully dry. Here's the trap. You wipe raw chicken juice, rinse the sponge, then wipe the counter, the faucet, the cutting board, maybe even a plate. Your brain says, cleaned. The sponge says, delivery route. Instead of removing germs, you can end up smearing them everywhere like butter you definitely did not order. Warmth, moisture, and food residue create a bacteria resort with room service. And the longer you keep using the same sponge, the better the colony gets established. If it smells bad, it's already laid. If it doesn't smell bad, that proves nothing. Replace it every week, let it dry fully between uses, and never use one sponge for everything. A dish brush or washable cloth is smarter. Your sponge is not a helper. It's a wet apartment building for microbes. Heated plastic. Microwaving leftovers in plastic feels responsible. You meal prepped, saved money, and now lunch is ready in 3 minutes. Very efficient. Also, depending on the container, a fantastic way to warm up your pasta and a side order of chemicals at the same time. Heat, grease, acid, and scratches can all push compounds out of plastic and into whatever you're eating. The hidden trap is that the container can look perfectly fine. No melting, no weird smell, no dramatic cartoon puddle. So you assume nothing happened. But plastic doesn't need to visibly fail to start shedding things you do not want in your food, especially when steam, hot fat, and reheated sauces are involved. Hot soup in takeout tubs is another bad idea. Inside your body, some of those compounds act like fake hormones. They send messy signals through the endocrine system, which helps regulate metabolism, appetite, fertility, mood, and development. It's like your organs are getting spam texts that look official enough to open. One reheated lunch is not the apocalypse. The issue is repetition. Move food to glass or ceramic before heating it. Skip flimsy plastic for hot meals, and toss containers that are cloudy, scratched, warped, stained, or suspiciously soft. Ceramic. Especially older ceramic seems completely safe. It looks traditional, handmade, even more trustworthy than modern tableware. But some older, imported, decorative, or uncertified pieces can leach lead from the glaze into hot drinks and acidic foods without giving you any obvious warning. The trap is visual. Dangerous ceramic ware usually looks charming, rustic, handcrafted, special. Not exactly villain material, but if the glaze contains lead, coffee, tea, soup, tomato sauce, or citrus can help pull tiny amounts out over time. You won't taste it, you won't smell it, you just keep sipping and trusting it. Once lead gets into the body, it behaves like an imposter mineral and interferes with normal signals, especially in the brain and nervous system. Think of it like bad wiring hidden inside the wall. Nothing explodes immediately, but important systems stop working the way they should. The danger is not one cup. It's the same mug every morning for years. If a ceramic piece is old, chipped, handmade, decorative, imported, or not clearly marked food safe and lead-free, don't use it for eating or drinking. And if you want to find out whether your kitchen ceramic is hiding lead, test it. I left a lead test kit in the description and in the pinned comment because most people assume their mugs and plates are safe, but they've never actually tested them. Non-stick pan. A non-stick pan feels like cheating in the best possible way. Eggs slide, pancakes flip, cleanup takes 10 seconds, and suddenly you feel like the sort of adult who has their life together. Then you leave that pan empty on a burner for a couple minutes while answering a text, and the magic starts turning ugly. That's the trap. Non-stick pans are easy to overheat without noticing, especially on modern stoves. The coating can start breaking down when temperatures climb high enough, and once that happens, it can release fumes into the air and particles into your food. No alarm goes off. The pan just keeps looking helpful while it gets less safe. Heat damages the coating, damage makes it shed, and once the surface is scratched, chipped, or peeling, you're cooking on something that is literally coming apart under dinner. Overheated fumes can irritate your lungs fast, and birds are famously vulnerable, which tells you this is not exactly fresh mountain air. Never preheat non-stick empty on high, keep it on low to medium heat, and use wood or silicone utensils only. The second the surface starts flaking, retire it. For high heat, use stainless steel or cast iron instead. Cutting board. Your cutting board looks innocent because it just sits there waiting to be useful. But every knife stroke carves tiny grooves into the surface, and those grooves are perfect hiding spots for food bits, moisture, and bacteria. So the board can look clean after a quick rinse while still holding on to yesterday's mistakes like a grudge. The trap is confidence. You cut raw chicken, wash the board fast, then chop tomatoes, lettuce, or fruit on the same spot because it looks fine. That phrase has caused an incredible amount of stomach misery. A board doesn't need visible slime to spread contamination. It just needs microscopic damage and one sloppy shortcut. Bacteria settle into those cuts where soap and a fast rinse don't always reach well. Then your knife and food bring them right back to the surface. On worn plastic boards, there's another bonus problem nobody asked for. Tiny plastic particles can shave off into your food as the board gets more scarred. Use separate boards for raw meat and ready-to-eat foods. Wash them thoroughly right away, and replace any board that is deeply grooved, cracked, or warped. A beat-up board is not seasoned. It's basically a germ parking garage. Canned food. That can in your pantry feels like the safest food on earth. It's sealed, shelf-stable, and always there when you need dinner to stop being a problem. Beans, soup, tomatoes, coconut milk, tuna, totally normal. But a lot of cans have an interior lining that can transfer chemicals into the food, especially when what's inside is acidic, salty, or fatty. The trap is that the metal can get all the attention while the liner stays invisible. You never see it, never think about it, and never suspect the smooth inside wall is the part doing the weirdest work. Tomatoes are especially good at pulling compounds from that lining, which is rude but very on-brand for tomatoes. Inside the body, some of those chemicals can mimic hormones and interfere with systems involved in metabolism, reproduction, mood, and development. It's less like getting poisoned in one dramatic moment and more like dealing with tiny fake signals over and over until your body has to keep sorting out mixed messages. This is a repetition problem, not a one-can emergency. Choose glass jars or cartons when you can, especially for acidic foods. Buy BPA-free cans when available, and rinse canned beans or vegetables before eating. Costume jewelry. Cheap jewelry is one of the great temptations of modern life. It's shiny, trendy, suspiciously affordable, and somehow always waiting near a checkout line like it knows your weaknesses. The problem is that low-cost costume jewelry can contain metals like nickel, cadmium, or even lead, and your skin doesn't always take that news well. The hidden trap is that irritation usually starts small. Maybe your ears stay red. Maybe a necklace makes your neck itch. Maybe a ring leaves a weird rash and turns your finger slightly swamp-colored. You blame sensitive skin, keep wearing it, and the piece keeps grinding away with sweat, friction, lotion, and heat. As plating wears down, the rougher metal underneath gets more contact with your skin. Your body starts treating it like an enemy, and repeated exposure can make reactions come back faster and angrier each time. So what looked like a harmless accessory becomes a tiny all-day exposure device clipped directly onto your body. Choose earrings, rings, and necklaces from brands that clearly say nickel-free and lead-safe, especially for pieces you wear all day. Stainless steel, sterling silver, and titanium are usually safer bets. If something makes you itch, burn, or turn green, stop wearing it. Cash register receipt. A receipt seems too flimsy and too boring to be dangerous. You touch it for 3 seconds, fold it, shove it in your pocket, and move on with your life. But many thermal paper receipts are coated with chemicals like BPA or BPS, and those compounds can transfer onto your skin more easily than most people realize. The trap is how casual the contact feels. You're not eating the receipt, so your brain files it under harmless paper nonsense. But if your hands are sweaty, greasy, lotioned, or covered in sanitizer, transfer can increase. Then you touch your phone, fries, steering wheel, kid's snack, or your own face, and the paper basically keeps participating. Some of those compounds can behave like fake hormones in the body, interfering with the endocrine system that helps regulate metabolism, reproduction, growth, and development. That makes receipts the chemical equivalent of a guy who keeps handing out fake backstage passes and somehow still gets through security. The danger is not one receipt, it's constant low-dose contact over time, especially for people handling them all day. Skip paper receipts when you can, choose digital copies, keep them away from kids, and wash your hands before eating after touching them. So which one of these did you never think twice about until now? If you learned something new, subscribe and watch our other videos. And if you want to clean up some of the hidden risks in your own home, I also linked a few useful products in the description and in the pinned comment that can help with some of the issues in this video.